So probably everybody remembers their first JRPG. I mean, it's just one of those experiences that's really going to stick with you as a gamer, because it's such a different thing to really play compared to, you know, any other platformer strategy game. It was a whole new experience, especially as a retro gamer. When you first started playing games back in, you know, the NES, the 8-bit era, you're really going to remember that first JRPG, because it's a whole new experience. And for me, that was Final Fantasy. That's the first one I remember trying. And it was quite a different thing as a young kid to get home and play Final Fantasy. And it stuck with me and probably really affected my tastes in video games, and probably not in the way you're thinking. I actually really have a hard time getting into JRPGs. And the story goes, it was one of those weekends I was going to rent a video game like I usually did, because my family couldn't generally always afford to buy new video games a lot. So I rented them on a regular basis. And it was one of those weekends that I was told to not rent a game that I had played several times. And that was kind of my thing. I always rented the same game over because I couldn't buy it. So I would rent it like 3, 4, 5 times, you know. And of course my parents figured out that if we're going to rent this much, we might as well buy it. So every once in a while I was told, rent a new game. You know, don't get one you've played 6 or 7 times already. Try something new. So we walked down. We probably drove down. I can't really say walk. We drove down to the little rental place. And if I remember correctly, at that time, it was actually not too far away. So we may have walked, I don't remember. It wasn't that far away from my house. And it was down around the corner by this 7-Eleven. And probably in those days, that was probably like the haven for nerds. Because you could, you know, go down to this little shop and rent the latest release NES game, and then walk over to 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee and a big thing of nachos. I know I'd probably be doing that a lot as an adult. So I went down there, and the thing about Final Fantasy is it just pulled me in as a kid when I saw it on that shelf. Here's this game that in this sleek black box with that artwork, the 2 swords and the castle and the name Final Fantasy, you know. And I'd been a big fan of those type of movies as a kid. I love fantasy movies and stuff like that, and Dark Crystal. So I was like, I saw this game sitting on the shelf. I had to pick something new, and I just knew that this would be the game that I would play all weekend and just love. And so I got it. You know, read the back of the box, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is gonna be so cool, it's gonna be epic. And I get home, and what the heck? I had, you know, I didn't know what to do. I was so lost, and I can't ever remember another time in my childhood playing a video game where I was so lost. You know, you pop it in, you see the blue screen with the white scrolling text telling you the story about these people, the prophecy having to come back and all that, and you instantly see the screen of these characters you have to pick and name. I had no idea what to do with that. You know, I had played Star Tropics, and I don't know if this was at that time and stuff, but I had played other games where you had to name your character. Probably played Zelda, stuff like that. But to 4 characters, and here they are just popped up on the screen. What am I supposed to do with these? So, you know, I kind of figured it out, and I named the characters, and don't really just pick one at random because I don't really understand why I'm picking these characters. And then you're just plopped down on a screen, and there you are. You're supposed to be saving the world. You know that from the intro, you know, so I have to save the world. What am I to do now? I'm just standing in front of this town in this giant castle, so this little tiny character. So you walk into the town, you talk to people, and they don't really tell you much of anything, and you walk in the shops, and everything costs money. You're not really sure what you're supposed to buy. So you walk into the castle. Okay, castle, it's a big thing. It must be where the story starts. You know, so you go in the castle, and you talk to people, and save the princess. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to save the princess. What am I supposed to do with that, you know? So you talk to everybody you can in the castle. You're not really sure what to do. Somebody kidnapped the princess. Used to be a good knight. You're still not really sure where you're supposed to go. So you go in town, maybe, if you figure this out. Maybe go into town and buy a couple weapons. I don't remember if I did. I probably bought a couple, not really sure what to buy, and then suddenly realized that I'm completely out of money, and I'll need that later to save and heal and everything, because how dumb was that? Need money to save your game. That is still trying to replay Final Fantasy to this day still ticks me off. It's like, oh, I could either, you know, upgrade to better weapons so the game's a lot easier, or I could save my game. Yeah, oh, cool, what an option. So you know, you try to figure out. I tried to figure out what to do and start. All right, I'll just walk out to these woods. Sure, you know. And then you meet your first enemy, and it just, you don't see anything. It just pops up. Suddenly the screen flashes multicolors, and here you are in a battle sequence. And it's not a regular battle sequence. It's not like Mario, is that you don't jump on it, you know, you're not in action with it, you're just there, and here's options: attack, magic, item. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Okay, attack, sure, you know. So you attack, and the first time you probably lose. I'm sure I did. I'm pretty sure the first time that I fought a creature in Final Fantasy as a kid, I died instantly. You know, I had no idea what to do. So I probably lost my first battle, restarted, did it again, and then you fight a couple, you win some, you fight a couple. You're not really realizing that you should save so much, because it's not an experience of having to save your game at a constant rate like that. So, and then of course it costs money. So, you know, you keep fighting, and you fight, and you fight, and nothing happens. And you get to the big castle at the top. You walked all the way through those woods, you had a couple random encounters, and you get to the ruined castle up top. The only other thing you could see on the map. You walk in, and the first thing that happens is you face this ghoul or something, and you lose. That's it. You're done. That was, like, okay, I did all that. I reloaded once. I bought all this stuff. I'm out of money. I couldn't save, and I died. What the heck am I? You start, and of course, all you can do is start over. You didn't make it anywhere. And that right there was pretty much my entire experience of Final Fantasy as a kid. I remember that it was pretty much my entire weekend. I took it out of that, had played it just that afternoon. I took it out of my NES, and I didn't touch it again. And it took me years and years and years to ever touch an RPG ever again that wasn't like Wonder Boy or something. I was like, screw this, RPGs are stupid. And you know, even to this day, it's still a different experience. It's still hard to get into, because as a kid, it was hard to grasp the idea that you have to grind for experience points and money and things like that. And that has really stuck with me as an adult. I hate it. I can't stand to grind for experience points and money and anything like that. I just want to play a game and fight people and get a story. And I really, you know, you hate to say it, like that made you less of a gamer, but I really think that small video game trauma, we'll call it, as a child, stuck with me from Final Fantasy, and that has really shaped how I looked at video games for a very long time.